Yo, there are what, 8 billion or so freaking people on the planet? If you were one of those people and you wanted to choose an exercise regimen to do for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Everybody might have an idea that pops into your head and say, oh, this is what I would do. 20,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel, and I bet that 99% of them are all thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this. What I put together, if you go to tiermaker.com, it gives you the option to create a drag and drop menu where you can put together a handful of little icons and pull them into a ranker. It goes D, C, B, A, and S. S is the best, D is the worst, C is better than D, B is better than C, and A is better than B. S just means that it's better than everything else. I don't know why it's S, but it's S, and it's the best. Where did I get my 26 exercise regimens from? Just experience. I know people who have done them. I know that I've seen things in chat forums saying that this is the best thing ever, or I hate this thing. This is going to be my take on where they belong in relation to everything else. I'll give you little tidbits on them. I'm going to try to keep each of them short, but remember the goal is there are 8 billion people on this planet. If you were to choose something to do for the rest of your life, minding that you will likely also want that thing to be sustainable, you're not going to ever become a professional in that thing, and at the end of the day, really all anybody wants is to look better naked. So let's talk about what I think will make you look the best naked over the longest period of time. Here we go. All right, here is my list. I made this on TierMaker, as I said. Here you go, D, C, B, A, and S. And here are all of my little icons in no particular order. I uploaded them and then just kind of threw them in here. Let's start with this person on the bike. This looks like it's a Peloton. I intended for this to be kind of cycling or a cycle class as the exercise regimen. I'm going to throw that into the C tier. I'm going to put it there because it is cool that anybody can do it anywhere, but really all you can do is one thing. Sure, you can achieve a handful of results from that. It's something you can do every single day. You can do it in your house. If you go to a gym, there's an instructor leading a class, and sure, maybe you can hit a couple of different energy systems there. I'm not a big fan of it because it is extremely unvariable. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can go long, you can go short. That's great, but you can't really load yourself up. You aren't moving through full range of motion, and look at this position on this bike. If you're going to sit here all day and then go sit at a desk as well, you're kind of hunched over, it's not going to lead you to a good time. So it belongs in the C tier. Before we get to golf, I'm going to put golf in the C tier. And Andrew, how could you possibly put golf in the same tier as freaking biking? Well, there's an entire population where this is their main source of exercise. You think about the older generations, it's like 60s and 70-year-olds. They go golf 3 times a week and then they walk for 4 hours on a golf course. That's great. Maybe you could even say it would belong in a higher tier because it brings them joy. They're more likely to do it. But the other half of the population, all they do is drink and eat and gamble, and they belong in the D tier. So average it out, it goes into the C tier. Orange Theory Fitness. Better than both of those because when you're going there, you're there for a goal. You want to better yourself. You're doing a handful of things. You can run, you can row, full range of motion, usually pretty good coaching there. The thing keeping it from being higher on the list is that I think intent is always important. I don't think very many people have a good intention there. Maybe not bad intention by any means, but they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They run around like chickens with their heads cut off for 45 minutes to an hour. They try to gather their splat points and then they walk out the door. It is, however, better than the previous two that I mentioned. Before we get to bodybuilding, where I'm going to put it into the B tier. Depends on what you're doing. Think bodybuilding. The people who are keeping it from being lower are the ones who do it the proper way. Muscle symmetry is kind of what I look for there, along with the low body fat percentage. Because if you're looking for a lower body fat percentage, it means you're eating well. It means that you're doing your cardio and your conditioning. If you're doing it the improper way, and this is what's keeping it from being higher, you do a whole bunch of chest, you do a whole bunch of biceps, you do absolutely no legs, you don't offset all of the frontal work with work on your back, and then you have a whole bunch of issues. Maybe you look good with clothes on, but when you take your pants off, you have no legs, and then it keeps you looking like an idiot and you give bodybuilders a bad name. Could be an A, also could be a C. Average it out, it goes into the B column. Here's a Stairmaster person. You're going into the D tier. The D tier on the Stairmaster might be a little harsh, but I have a qualm with the Stairmaster because people will go on it trying to grow and make their glutes look better. It might make them look better. Is that what you think? I'm a big fan of low-hanging fruit. If you really want to grow your butt, go do butt-loaded exercises. That sounds weird to say, but on the Stairmaster, you see people doing kickbacks, walking up the stairs sideways. Do you get glute activation? Sure, it's rather minimal. You want to activate the glutes a lot? You go and do heavy squats, deadlifts, lunges, split squats, RDLs. Work the glutes differently. Go do hip thrust. Freaking Brent Contreras shit. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh because it's a great conditioning exercise. Don't get me wrong, there are people who go to the gym just to use the Stairmaster and then go home. I'm not saying it's bad, it just depends on the way that you're using it. It is so far the worst yet. but we'll put it in there with Zumba. Zumba is dancing, and dancing is good. Dancing for exercise, this is a whole lot of benefit that you can get from other exercise programs. The thing that I do like is that there's a whole bunch of people here that look like they're having a good time, but they could have that good time anywhere. They don't need to go to the gym to do it. If you're gonna go to the gym, you might as well use some equipment. Hold on to freaking 2-pound dumbbells and do something that's going to put some muscle on, because I would bet that all of these people in here are doing the thing which is to look better naked. You want to look better naked, put on a little bit of muscle, not a lot. I know people don't want to get bulky, but if you put a little bit of muscle, it ups your BMR, you up your BMR, you lose more body fat, and then everybody's happy. But the only time you're going to be burning any calories and losing any weight is when you're in there. You ever been in this shit? I don't know very many people who still do Zumba. I do know people who do American Ninja Warrior. I'm putting it at the C tier because it requires a whole lot of different things. One of those things is going to be strength per pound of body weight, meaning you want to be as small as possible while being as strong as possible to excel at these. You might say, Andrew, there's no such thing as an American Ninja Warrior gym. Is that what you think? You think? I've seen one in person. It's cool. People take that shit extremely seriously. And you know what's good? It's right, rock climbing's right next to it. So rock climbing and American Ninja Warrior, they belong in the C tier. You have to be strong. Maybe you don't have a typical conditioning sense, but it is isometric so much that it becomes a little bit of conditioning. The grip strength of these people is out of control, and they're way more beneficial than just going on a Stairmaster climb or going and doing a Zumba class. But they can't possibly reap the reward of an Orange Theory Fitness or a bodybuilding gym. Next up, we've got court sports. I'm gonna put court sports along, I'm gonna put it with bodybuilding. I like court sports because of the way people get into it. When you get into something, it's gonna level yourself up a little bit. When you level yourself up, it's a little bit more exertion. When you exert yourself a little more, you get a little bit of a body stimulus to that that's going to lead you to a better physique. Higher release of dopamine, it makes you wanna come back. The thing that keeps it from being even higher on this is the high risk of injury. The older you get, the more likely you are to tear your shit up on a court sport, which are, by the way, like tennis, pickleball, basketball, racquetball. And tear your shit up, I mean like your knees, your hips. Maybe you freaking run into somebody and you pop a shoulder. They're dangerous and people get into it, so it's got its benefits, it's got its drawbacks. Other end of the spectrum, remember, I didn't do this on purpose, but swimming, I'm putting swimming up in the S tier. Why, Andrew, are you putting swimming in the S tier? Well, you use your legs, you use your upper body, there's body torsion in there, there's a sprint, you can go long distances, you can do interval work, you can do breath holds, which is something that you really could do anywhere, but I don't think anybody trains that outside of a swimmer. And on top of that, the heart is one of the biggest things being worked while you're swimming, becoming an efficient machine in the water. And if you had to choose something to do for the longest period of time ever, why not choose the thing just about everyone in the world says they want to look like? It's like, I want to get a swimmer's body, because they have a good amount of muscle tone, because you need it in order to swim. They're also pretty lean because you don't really see very many bigger people in the pool, and you can do it about your whole life. Is it boring as all sin? Yeah, it is boring as all sin. But as far as fitness goes, it's epic. Next up, sauna. People do go to the gym to just use the sauna. I saw one of the biggest people in my life, and I was maybe 18 or 19 years old, sitting in a sauna. Give me an entire story about how he said he was trying to lose weight because he knew of a horse jockey that did it to lose weight. Well, dude, the horse jockey lost weight because he needed to be a certain weight to ride the horse. If he weighed 145 pounds, maybe he had to weigh 130 pounds. As a freaking, however tall that male was, that's very light for a male. I'll tell you, this guy was probably 380 pounds. And I'll tell you that I also saw him at that gym every single year, never looking any different. Only ever in the sauna did I see him too. Did it make him feel good? Did he clear some toxins? Yes, but as far as looking good naked, it's not gonna work. What might work better though is hiking. Hiking's gonna go above rock climbing, above Ninja Warrior, because being outside has something to it, whether it be the vitamin D, whether it just be being in nature, which makes you feel better about life. People and hiking, I don't see very many people who not in great shape, who are frequent hikers. It's like the egg before the chicken or the chicken before the egg. Do they like hiking because they are in shape, or are they in shape because they like hiking? I don't know, but they belong in the B column. You can do this thing forever. And while I really like hiking, I do not like F45. I'm gonna put F45. I really want to put it in the D, but I can't. I want to put it in the D, but I can't. F45 is going to go in the C tier. It is a carbon copy of another one of my favorite training regimens, done by coaches who are just trying to systemize everything. And when you systemize something, it means that it's never creative, it's boring. I don't know why you're doing things other than you are just doing them to do things, which means that your clients probably don't have a goal in mind. I never see anything extra heavy put onto any of the individuals doing an F45 class. Spoken to a handful of people who have done them, and while it's better than nothing, like the sauna, the Stairmaster, and the Zumba class, there are better options out there such as Jiu-Jitsu, which I'll put it right above F45. People are passionate as all shit about jiu-jitsu. It's primal. It's usually males. I do know a couple of females that do jiu-jitsu, and if I knew more females that do jiu-jitsu, I could probably even put this into the A tier, but it belongs in the B tier because where I said a handful of these are getting negatives because they don't have any sort of loading to them, when you're going up against another human being, that's all the load you really need. You can get really fucking strong butting your head up against somebody else and fighting against somebody else. Conditioning is there, positions are there. It's almost like sprinting. Sprinting is one of the best things ever. It's not on the list, but I'm a big fan of sprinting because it's just something that people should do. And I think people are kind of born to fight and wrestle around. People are also born to do is lift heavy ass shit, but I'm going to put this into the D tier, and that is Strongman. I just watched a whole bunch of Strongman at the Rogue Invitational this past weekend, and they don't look like they're going to live very long. They're doing so with an end goal in mind. Most of them do not look good naked. Most of them I don't think are going to live very long because they're so fucking big, whether it be their poor diets or their use of performance enhancers. All they want to do is pick up the biggest fucking thing ever, and that's okay. If you want to do it, go ahead. I'm sure they also know the deal with the devil that they made.
What? Are you kidding? I have to give you my soul?
Which is every year that goes by and you're living like that, you take a year off the other end. And while they are aware of the decisions that they're making, I think that these people are not, and that is marathon runners, or maybe just even runners in general. Coincidentally, also in this list is Zumba, which you can do anywhere. Running, you can also do anywhere. I think there's just so many people that are stuck into the headspace that is, running is good for you, I'm gonna go on a run. Running isn't bad for you, it just depends on why you're running. If you're running to lose weight, just like Zumba, I would think that you would want to put on some muscle mass. You put on muscle mass, it increases your BMR, so you don't really have to do as much work. Your body just burns more energy over the course of the day. And also, unlike Zumba, it has an incredible impact on your knees and your back. And I don't know anybody who is a long-term runner that doesn't have any sort of injuries in relation to their lower body. That doesn't mean that I don't like running, it just means that I don't think it's the best thing for people in the long term. I'm a big fan of running. I'm not a big fan of functional fitness. And unlike F45, which I guess is functional 45, people who are doing functional fitness is basically an excuse for them to do whatever the hell they want, whenever the hell they want to do it, because it's functional. This is probably the 30th time I've said it, but a lot of these need a goal. Like, what is your goal? And if your goal is just to freaking be as human as possible, well, go do something like jiu-jitsu or hike in the freaking mountains. And actually, in the D tier list, I had Zumba, I had running as things that you're doing without the need for a gym, and I was holding that against it. But I've got P90X here, which I'm going to put into the A tier. Because over the course of my life, I've heard how many people say that P90X is the best thing that they've ever done. Weird, right? Why is P90X the best thing ever? It's like, well, there is an instructor there who has a goal in mind. What is the goal? They want you to lose weight and build muscle. How are they going to do that? Well, a lot of calisthenics, a lot of long duration exercises, interval exercises done with weights or without weights. But if you had weights, there is also a P90X weighted version, and everybody ends up becoming a better version of themselves. The fact that you can do it in your house here is a good thing, because unlike Zumba, where if you're doing it in a class setting, it's a waste of time, it's actually saving you time to do this one in your house, in your basement. I know there's Zumba classes that you can do on your TV, so if you're doing that, maybe you're a C tier. Sorry, Zumba. Barry's Bootcamp is not one that I've actually done, but I'm going to tag it along with Orange Theory. I hear they're very similar. The only drawback to Barry's Bootcamp that I've ever heard of is that it's too expensive. And if that's the only drawback that I've ever heard, I guess I can't put it any lower than Orange Theory. And I suppose if I were to go take one of those classes or have a little bit of a more in-depth conversation with somebody, it could even potentially move up to an A tier. But just because it's expensive doesn't mean that it's bad. Most people do enjoy those classes. People also enjoy Pilates classes, which I'm going to put into the C tier, because from what I hear, it's like Yoga Plus. That's a reformer that individual is using right there. And on the reformer, Jake Arrieta will say that it increased his potential as a pitcher in the MLB to win a Cy Young in the year 2016. He became the best thing ever. Flexibility and strength in random positions is going to be kind of what you're looking at right there. However, there is no load. Pitchers don't need load. People don't need a whole bunch of load, but the emphasis on positions there will make your body build a little bit of muscle, which, if you can't tell, I'm a big fan of. And I'm going to take this one, I'm going to scoot it right to the end, all right? Because I said already that these aren't in any particular order. I just want The Rock to hang out at the end. He's just looking at us for now. Larry Wheels picking up a bar is powerlifting, and powerlifting is going to go a rung above strongman. Interestingly enough, I know a lot of people who do strongman, and I know a lot of people who do powerlifting. Powerlifting, the biggest difference is the weight classes. I don't know strongman weight classes. Strongmen get as big as possible to do the things that they want to do. Powerlifters powerlifters want to fit in their weight class so that they can do the lifts against people competitive against them, while they still have the potential to be taking years off of their lives and doing 3 lifts basically until they die, and they really don't do very much conditioning at all. All they got to do is pick things up and put them down and be done with it. The pullover into the general population is one that is way better than strongman, because if you go to any single gym, you'll see people squatting, benching, and deadlifting. And if it weren't for powerlifting, I guess you can't entirely chalk this up to powerlifting, but it has had an effect that is beneficial for everybody, maybe even potentially moving it up to a B. But if you were to just do powerlifting for the rest of your life, I think that there are better options out there, bodybuilding being one of them. Here's a shake weight. I'm just gonna put that in the D column and move on. Next up, we've got walking. We're gonna put walking into the C column as well, because while it's better than a handful of things that I've got in the D column, I can't possibly chalk it up to the things in the B column. There are people who need to start exercising though, people who haven't moved at all in a long time. And if going on a 30-minute walk is your form of exercise, it's better than nothing. I guess so would some of these things be down here, but I don't really think that any, and I guess Zumba would also be one of those things. You can just turn on the TV and start doing a Zumba class. That's better than nothing. But I know some people who swear and live and die by the fact that they will walk X amount of whatever a day. You want to walk on the beach every single night, and they look freaking rail thin and they live until they're 100. So walking belongs in the C column. So does yoga. Yoga, reformer, yoga. Nice to meet you guys. Positions, strength in positions, flexibility, all well and good. You can't go any higher because you have no conditioning. You're never really training your heart. Hot yoga, I would actually, if hot yoga was a thing, I'd move that down in the D column. You might like to be hot, but it's not really doing anything for you other than dehydrating you. And then all we've got left is CrossFit and The Rock. Where are they going to go? Well, CrossFit is a D column exercise. Why is CrossFit belonging in the D column, you ask? Andrew, I thought you loved CrossFit. It's like, well, I do. You really thought I was going to put CrossFit in the D column? No. CrossFit belongs in the C column because I got you again. CrossFit, we're going all the way up into the S column because it's better than everything else. Clearly, CrossFit is just the best thing ever. No, but seriously, anybody with a level head and a good coach and a good affiliate knows that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're starting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your goals are. The CrossFit methodology is the way to get you to your end goal. And as I said at the beginning of this, if there are 8 billion people on this planet, and 8 billion people's goal is to look as good as possible and they can live a longer, healthier life. And if you've heard all of the other drawbacks that I've had on every other single one of these things in here, and if you have a good coach teaching you good movement, and you have your head screwed on straight, and you aren't a mental midget thinking that, oh, the only people who should exercise are the ones who want to be big and strong. Or it's like, I don't want to hurt my back. That's what I'm talking about when it's a mental midget. You walk into the gym, it's like, you know, I used to squat, but I don't want to hurt my back. All you got to do is work towards that. Good coaches can do it. Good programming can do it. And then I'm going to finish up with The Rock here. The Rock belongs in the S column because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're doing something. So if you're doing something in the D column, which is the freaking Zumba, the Stairmaster, the sauna, yeah, even the sauna, the strongman, the freaking marathon running, functional fitness, you could even do the freaking shake weight, and it's better than doing nothing, because when you're doing something, it means that you are moving towards an end goal, which is a better life. That said, I hope you like the list. If you want, like I said, you can go onto the tiermaker.com and you can type in ultimate workout regimens, and you can make your own tier list with the pictures that I had right here. Send them my way. That'll be really cool. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. Share your comments if you think I put something vastly out of place, but that's all I got. And Riller out.